Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm going to call the August 28th, 2024 meeting of the Auburn School Committee to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and I'll start down here on my right with introductions.
Dan Poisson, Ward 5.
Quinn Gormley, Ward 4.
Pam Hart, Ward 2.
Pam Albert at large.
Sue Doris, Superintendent.
Pat Gaudier, Ward 3.
Jay Rich at large.
Adam Platt, City Council Representative. Calvin Vincent, Student Representative.
Amanda Kuchar, Business Manager.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight, and happy first day of school. We are going to start tonight with our new student representative swearing in. Welcome to Calvin Vincent. Calvin, I'm going to have you come out front here, and we don't have a microphone for this.
Okay,
Can we just use this?
that'll work.
I'm right over here. Have you turn and face everybody. And you're going to kind of speak into the microphone so people can hear you at home. Okay. You don't have to press the button here. Okay, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, please state your name,
I, Calvin Vincent,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of the state of Maine,
and of the state of Maine,
so long as I
so long as I
shall remain a citizen thereof.
one time,
Shall remain a citizen thereof.
shall remain a citizen thereof,
And that I will faithfully discharge,
and that I will faithfully discharge,
to the best of my abilities,
to the best of my abilities,
the duties incumbent upon me
the duties incumbent upon
as student representative to the school committee,
me as student representative to the school committee,
according to said constitutions,
according to said constitutions,
the laws of this state,
the laws of this state,
and ordinances of this city.
and ordinances of this city.
Congratulations. Okay, moving on to our consent agenda, including the approval of tonight's agenda, the approval of the minutes of the August 7th, 2024 meeting, and the recommendation of the certified contracts of those listed on the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Seconded.
Pam, second Quinn. All of those in favor? Motion passes. Do I have anyone here for public participation tonight? Seeing none, we're going to move on to our presentation about the summer school programs.
Thank you, Chairperson Albert. I will start us off with a summary of the various summer programs that we had this year in the school department. Just to give you sort of the general overview, our summer programs supported the elementary, middle, and high school students, students with special needs, and our multilingual learners. The programs were designed primarily to prevent summer learning loss and then to support academic growth in literacy, math, and different content areas. We also work to meet the individual needs of students with individual education plans and to support our English language learners. And at the high school level, we provided credit enhancement and recovery opportunities. So the school committee members have a handout so you can see the various programs that we're running this summer. We had summer tutoring at East Auburn, Washburn, Walton, Sherwood Heights, Fairview, Park Avenue, and we went out into the community to the Boys and Girls Club. And then we had a community learning center program at Park Avenue. We had a childcare summer program at Sherwood Heights. And this year at AMS, we had the Falcon Camp Rise program, and we'll hear from Ben in just a minute about that program. We also had a credit recovery going on at Edward Little High School and AMS, and then the Franklin Summer Program at Franklin, which you can see from your handout was themed on some outdoor learning. So at this time, I'd like to ask Ben to come up, and he can talk to us about the AMS program. And we also, I think, have, looking for Stephanie Hathaway. Yes, so she will be coming up as well. So why don't you come up too, Stephanie? We'll have Ben talk to us first about his program, and then Stephanie will provide us with an update about the elementary tutoring programs.
Yeah, thank you for giving me this opportunity. This is year 2 for Camp Rise at AMS. Camp Rise has been for students who have some difficulty learning in the traditional sense. So we started Camp Rise last year, recognizing that some students were in need of support academically. So we created a program where we do a nonfiction read, and from there we pull out the science and the math, doing a more holistic approach to education. We find that students get a different level of engagement when they do that. Last year we had 32 students. This past year, this summer, we had 27 students. All students had 100% attendance. All students did phenomenal with their work and did a great job passing. So this year we did, I'm gonna have to read this because I'm gonna forget the name of the books, but this year we did the Boy That Harnessed the Wind. So that is our social studies theme, and from there we pulled out the science, so students developed their own energy systems using nature. And then the other book that we did was the, I should have this memorized by now, but it's a book about the woman of NASA, and we ended up doing the water rock. Oh, Hidden Figures, there we go. Thank you for that. I can't see it on my phone, I need glasses, I'm getting older. But we did Hidden Figures, and Hidden Figures, again, is a book about, the science of NASA and the data that comes out of that. And that's a big, heavy math book, also kind of a nonfiction read, but we pull science out of that as well. And is well attended, and it's a lot of fun. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
And Stephanie will be talking to us about the elementary tutoring program.
Yes. Hello. So I oversaw the elementary summer tutoring program, and in all the places that Sue had mentioned before, we had a total of 26 tutors this year, which is great. People who volunteered to come in and help our students to maintain their learning. So we did have different configurations. We had the one-on-one in many of the tutoring areas. A couple people did small groups, which really benefited people because if one was sick, they were still able to see the other one. Of course, the Park Avenue program, which is like a mini school day. And then we had the Sherwood Heights did like a 2-hour pre-K block, so they got to see 2 groups for that. Boys and Girls Club also, we worked with them again this year. The nice thing about Boys and Girls Club is with their schedule, we can pull any Auburn child. So if ours aren't there, then we would go ahead and we would find somebody that was in the Auburn program. We had books that we would read with them. We had things that we were doing with them. So that was really nice too, to kind of get to be able to pull some other students as well. Added bonus of tutoring this summer. This was a fantastic opportunity. Many of our teachers, through the literacy grant that we received, have been taking courses based on the science of reading and the latest brain research. And so we have had some shifting the balance for K2 and 3-5, letters training and morpheme magic training, K2 and 3-5. This was a great opportunity for our tutors to be able to try and pilot some of these things that we've been learning. I know all of them tried little bits and pieces in the class, but sometimes with 20-some kids, it's very hard to do that. This was a fantastic opportunity, and I saw a lot of that when I'd visit different sites. People actually dabbling in some of the things that they had learned, like orthographic mapping of words, phonemic awareness activities. We all were using the decodable books that we got through the literacy grant and using the lesson plans to go with that as well. So I think that was an added bonus for our tutors because they got to do that with students. They saw the results. Now they can take that back to their classroom this year. So I think that was really good. The effects of the summer school program, I mean, the students just love it. Wherever I went, they were so engaged and just excited to be there with their teachers. The tutors themselves love it because they're able to have that flexibility of scheduling what works for them, what works for the students that they're working with. And so that's just a huge bonus as well. And then the parents, they are really appreciative of the extra time that their students can have to keep their learning going during the summer. And also just the flexibility. I mean, a lot of tutors switched the days that they were working or the times so that they could accommodate the parents' schedule. So just, we really appreciate the opportunity to do a summer program like this. And, the data speaks for itself as far as what we're able to accomplish in the summer, so.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yes.
Sorry.
Ben?
Well, no, I do have a question about the tutoring program.
Yep.
As far as the tutors, are they just teachers, or was it like students that were you utilizing students, or what?
No, it's all teachers. So we have, we basically contact people who have done it previously and invite them back. And then if there are people who have left or can't do it, we'll kind of do a little open call for anybody who's interested. So it was all teachers that were doing the tutoring, yeah.
That's it.
Oh, Adam's got a question.
I've got a question. It may be for the superintendent, though. I'm not sure. Seeing that a lot of these programs are funded by ESSER, I guess it's a two-pronged question. Did these programs exist pre-COVID, and what's our plan when ESSER goes away?
Great question. Some of these programs existed before ESSER, and some of these programs did not. So we will have to move some of these programs into the general fund budget next year to continue them. Some of the credit recovery programs, we've had those ongoing for many years now. So, yeah, that will have a budget impact.
How are students chosen for these programs? Because I'm assuming we can't accept everyone.
Well, at the elementary level, what we do is we start with teacher recommendations of students they think that would, be able to get there because transportation isn't provided to all sites. And also, they talk to the parents if they're interested in that as well. And once we compile a list of names, then the tutors that are working at that school will go ahead and just divide up the students and plug them in, call the parents, and work out a schedule. So that's how that works. We haven't had anybody, we've had a waiting list before, but typically we've been able to, go ahead and put everybody somewhere. We had students that typically go to Fairview that went to Sherwood Heights because that's where their daycare was. So again, the flexibility is key that we're able to kind of do that, and the tutors are willing to do that as well.
You have another question?
Could I ask the same to you? How were
Yeah.
the students chosen?
Yeah, sorry, Carol. Yes, so our students are asked to come to Camp Rise if they have shown some or lack of proficiency in the content areas. Likewise, some parents request it. So there are some students who have been less than positively successful, although yet kind of successful through the school year, and parents may want to bolster them. We're always looking for more students. We were very fortunate the first year out to have so many. We'd love to have the number go up a little higher than we are. We have ability and we have room to add more students without adding more cost.
I'm sorry, I do have one more question. You had stated that, well, either of you, you had stated that it's just students that have the ability to get there because we don't provide transportation. Are there a lot of students that would benefit from this if we were to provide transportation and make it a...
We at the middle level have been clever enough to borrow vans from other schools, and we have driven kids ourselves. Because our middle school kids can't make it because our parents are working and the other kids probably are working as well. So it's a little more different for us.
For us, really, it's been a lot of some of the sites the kids can walk to, and so the parents are willing to bring them over to walk. And then Park Avenue, obviously, they have busing, but I haven't found that to be a huge problem. We are thinking ahead, like Washburn, we've been talking about restructuring our program a little bit next year to allow for bigger blocks of time so that the parents can walk them over, and maybe we'll have some different tiers of learning as far as so that they could drop off more than one child for a longer extended period. So we've tried to do that, but for the most part, Sherwood, I think, walked, Washburn walked. Walton didn't have any trouble with parent transportation. They were able to get that, so it hasn't been a huge stop.
Okay. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see here. Moving on to our school committee student representatives report. Calvin.
Hello, everybody. Today was freshman orientation for the high school and the first day of school for all of the elementary schools and the middle school. The Student Leadership Council guided the upcoming freshmen on a tour of Edward Little, put on a fashion show displaying different common themes of Spirit Week to promote school spirit, and was strategically placed around the building to help freshmen find their classes during a run-through of both Maroon and White Day schedules. This year, Student Leadership Council will be focusing on the social and emotional well-being of students as part of the ELHS mentorship program. The program occurs during flex time, and Student Leadership Council members are assigned freshman homerooms and implement a curriculum provided by our social workers to achieve our focus. Tomorrow is the first day of school with Edward Little's entire student body. Everyone's very excited for the upcoming school year.
Great, thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Calvin? Thank you, Calvin. Moving on to our superintendent's report, Dr. Doris.
Thank you, Chairperson Albert. I have a few items tonight for you. The first is an enrollment update, and you all have a printout of our current enrollment right now, and also you have the October 1st, 2023 enrollment. So just to kind of summarize overall, we are up 46 students right now in the district, and this number is likely higher because it doesn't include the students that we were registering today and that are still in the registration process. If you look at the various schools, you'll notice that AMS is up 38 students right now, and EL is up 33 students. And then some of the other schools are up and down just a little bit from last year. Park Avenue notably is up 22 students from the October 1st count last year, and this number is likely higher. As I know we were over there today and they were registering new students. So that's it for the enrollment update today. I am going to provide an update at a future meeting where we'll talk about class sizes. Any questions? Okay, we're going to move along to my next item, and that's an update on the Edward Little High School gym. I'd like to ask Todd and Scott to come up to the mic, and they're going to talk to us about an event that happened this summer in our brand new gym. And we have a few photos here for reference. You have a copy of that, so.
Whatever's in those photos doesn't do justice. Just gonna say. So on June 12th, June 12th or 11th, 12th, I got a phone call at about 7:30 at night. We had a really good downpour of, just a big old thunder shower. Got a call that the roof in the gym was leaking. So booked it up there, and the drain coming off the roof that connects into the drainage system, the entire cup link let loose from the drain on the roof into the gym, and so it was like someone had turned on the bathtub and water was pouring down for the duration of the storm and the water coming off the roof. There was no way to stop it. And from that point on, it was all hands on deck to try to clean up the mess. And so the end result of that was some significant damage to the bleachers and to the floor of the gym. We worked with the contractor and the folks from the roof, as well as the folks that had done the installation of the drainage system. The first tier out of the gate was, how do we get this place dried up? And then we started to work with the various groups of what happened and why did it happen and who's responsible for it. And so Mr. Conrad was still with us at the time, so Amanda and Mark and I did a lot of trying to figure out what are the next steps. And so there was a lot of insurance claims, and finally the the group that, the contractor that had installed it, took responsibility for that and started working through their their insurance agency to do the next steps, which then meant the rest of the summer, we met with various appraisers and adjusters and evaluators, from construction, management folks to the actual insurance adjusters, because most insurance adjusters will do residential but not commercial, and so we had to wait through that. We went through that process, and then they have to do their process to determine what the cost is and the evaluation of all of that. And then from that point, then Amanda got pretty fired up and scheduled for what our next steps were, which the floor needed to be replaced. After going through all of those insurance evaluations with the adjusters and all of those pieces, the way that gym is built, it's a concrete slab that sits about 3 inches lower than the actual floor of the building, and there is no drain underneath because that's not how these structures are built, and so there's a lot of moisture that's still under there. One of the groups that came in did a moisture reading, so if that happened June 12th, it was right around July 15th, and the moisture reading was about 40%, and it needs to be between 8 and 10%. And that was with constant dehumidifiers and fans running. So there was water that we could remove, that we could see, but there was a tremendous amount of moisture still in there. And so where that has placed us, as I said, Amanda went after this pretty aggressively. And the group that actually installed the floor is who we've been able to line up to come do the floor again. And it's about an 8 to 9 week process, and that is scheduled to kick off on October 15th. And through that process, we also had to work with the Hussey, who had done the bleachers, to evaluate the damage, or is there damage and what needs to be done. Because it wasn't just the wood boards and plankings, we also needed to look down into the mechanisms that move the bleachers in and out to be sure that there wasn't any damage in there, or there was any water that is causing any rust or anything like that. So they did that evaluation and determined that the bleachers will operate fine. There's some boards that need to be done. They'll coordinate with the installation because it's a two-step process. It's a different game of dominoes now than it was before, where the floor went in and then the bleachers went in. Now we need to move the bleachers to the middle so the floor can get demoed to that point, and then they start the process working itself back out to the wall so that the bleachers can go back out to the wall. And that was real important because you don't think about it until you're in that situation where everything has to stay the same, because the floor needs to stay the same height as the bleachers need to stay the same height, so that we're at the same height of what the basketball hoops are. So, yeah, fun summer.
So how will that affect athletics?
So, obviously it has an immediate impact on our volleyball program, which in the past I've shared with you has been very successful with huge numbers. So we have great partnership with Miss Maris at Park Ave, and they actually have the sleeves in the gym floor that you need for the volleyball standards. So we're going to practice each day this fall in our auxiliary gym, the benefit of having that second gym. So our kiddos will be over there for practice in the auxiliary gym each day once the demo starts. And then our 7 home matches starting next Thursday will be up at Park Avenue, and they've graciously agreed to host us. We've worked out with our 2 new basketball coaches and our wrestling coach kind of a plan B, and hope that those first couple of weeks of basketball practice, maybe at some of our elementary schools, maybe at our middle school. Unfortunately, the Hasty Memorial Armory is booked. We've reached out to the rec department. So we're still kind of brainstorming some ideas of how that's all going to work for us. We're working with the schedule makers. We may be road warriors for the month of December and play a lot of games on the road. And then enjoy the new gym floor come middle of January and February. But everybody has been super cooperative, and let's just get this done and take care of it for the kiddos. But Mr. Anier mentioned the photos really don't do it justice. If you're at the school someday and want to come up and see, we can really show you. The clipboard is what the insurance adjuster did, and you should not see any daylight under that clipboard. And it's that waving where the water and the moisture actually buckled that gym floor.
Any questions?
You had initially stated that the risers or the seating was damaged. Are we having that replaced as well?
Oh, yes, very much so. And there was like about 7 boards, decking pieces, the top and the side as well. So there was 7. They're going to do that at the same time. That will be on Hussey. You know, he submitted his estimate under the insurance claim as well. But yes, they will be.
Thank you, Amanda, for being aggressive to try to get this going, and appreciate all the work that's been done to try to mediate this.
Yes, I echo that. Certainly an unfortunate event given how new our building is, but I appreciate all of your efforts to rectify it as quickly as possible. Pat?
What will the impact be? Will they be working in the building during school time? And
Yes.
is that going to be okay?
Yeah, that's one of the pieces that I'm pleased that we're having that original group, because they're familiar with the space. They're familiar with, you know, where the loading and unloading is and what we'll need to do about that. There's one classroom that I have a concern about. We'll see where that goes in terms of noise. And I have a backup plan if we have to make that adjustment. And I'll work with the contractor to figure out like how long the duration and the intensity of what that noise will look like. But they're familiar with our space, so that's really good. Some of the big pieces that are real important are how the wood needs to be on site to get itself acclimated, so we have space. There's still some of the areas to the side that where the garage bays are, that where some of the LRTC programs that will be coming on soon give us good access to be able to do that. So we will manage it. We've had multiple contractors for a variety of tasks in the building throughout the entire school year. So that part is pretty far away from the majority of the academic pieces. The phys ed teachers are aware of this. We still have the auxiliary gym. We now have the tennis courts. I think Calvin may have been one of the first people to ever use a tennis court. As well as, you know, we have the whole stadium and track and all of that. So we'll adapt. If anybody can adapt, it's our phys ed department. We have the fitness center as well. So fortunately, it's not having to make that jump overnight. They have some time to kind of plan and be prepared for that. So it's not ideal, but it's what will get us through that 8-9 week process.
What about the ventilation when they paint and finish the wood?
I'm going to lean on them of what do they need. This is not their first time doing a gym floor during a school year. And again, we're being aggressive, as I said with Amanda, with labor and materials to try to get that as soon as we did is actually a big win for us. So their experience of having to work in a building while school's operating before, we'll navigate that with them. Our air system is second to none in the city. But will we need to make some adjustments? We shall see, and we'll work with them to try to figure that out. If we have to close off areas due to air, we're definitely going to have to in terms of moisture and dust and things like that to begin with. And so whenever they land, we'll start strategize. I'll put my project manager hat back on, and we'll do it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the update.
Can I mention
yes,
something
go ahead.
non-gym related, a very positive? I heard from Mike Burnham, the executive director at the Maine Principals Association today, and in the process of building this beautiful complex, we always talked about hosting regional and state championships. So we were informed today, this fall, we're going to host the Class C Regional Soccer Championships, and a few days later, we're going to host Class A, B, and C Field Hockey State Championships, which will be a tremendous revenue for our grandstand club and people coming to our community to fill their gas tanks and eat at our restaurant. So build it and they will come. And this is the first of many, I hope.
That's great.
All right. Excellent.
Pam?
I do have one more question about the gym. All expenses will be paid by insurance. We don't have to pay any deductibles or anything like that?
That's a me question. So we do have to cover the deductible to start. The insurance company has already actually funded the remainder of the costs according to the 2 quotes that we've gotten. And then it's up to our insurance company to work with the mechanical contractors company to request that deductible back. So we should receive that back, but we do have to start out funding it.
Okay, great question. Quinn?
And do they know why this went wrong?
Mechanical failure may be the term used. It just let loose. Through that process, was it a design? Was it a craftsmanship? Was it a mechanical failure? And I think they landed at the place of a mechanical failure of that coupling.
But not a sign that they installed it incorrectly or something?
Just let loose.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to invite Michelle Gagne to come up and talk to us about the new teacher orientation.
Hello, everyone. Excited to be back again to give you an update on, how we're going to start the year off strong, supporting our new teachers here in Auburn. New teacher orientation happened on the 21st, and it was the start of what will continue for a year-long process under the umbrella of our Auburn Induction Academy, which we lovingly now call AIA. We had at the time 19 new teachers. We have added a few new teachers to that wonderful list of people that participated on that day. Myself and Diana Carson, my assistant, did all we could to try to make it a very enjoyable, kind of light-hearted welcome for our staff. It was, of course, a meeting, but we wanted them to take away much more than just information, but really a sense of belonging and a kind of feeling of new home. And we hope that that will endure this, through this year and then, of course, many years to come, because our vision is not only to recruit, support, but also retain talented teachers here in Auburn. So the day started with a lovely breakfast provided by our nutrition staff, and they just do an amazing job. After that, we had our introductions. We had a slideshow where every participant was able to not only showcase a photo of them enjoying their summer vacation as they got ready for school, but also could talk a little bit about their history and what brought them to the area. And we just had this amazing energy in the room, some really great stories about their families and the reason they either came back to Auburn or that they landed here in the most wonderful ways, and how our outreach through just our initiatives and recruiting just seemed to find these just amazing, very energetic educators. So that was really exciting for all of us that were there to hear their stories. After that, we broke up into 4 small group sessions, and we kind of mixed them up, not just by grade level or school, but so they would have an opportunity to kind of work together and get to know each other in smaller groups. And those small groups were led by Stephanie Weber, our support specialist, our technology support specialist, Marissa Moreau from the Auburn Education Association, and also Diane Blay from Human Resources, and then myself and also Diana were there to do kind of a chat and informal session with them as well to get to know them a little better. After that, our other administrators from the district met with us, and we did a little get-to-know Auburn session, which is kind of fun, some fun facts about each school, and a chance to get to know the administrative team here in Auburn. We also had lunch together, again provided by our wonderful nutrition staff, and it was a delicious lunch, and we enjoyed our time at AMS and thanked them for hosting us there. And after lunch, each of them got a chance to head back to their individual schools, either in groups, because like at AMS, there's quite a few of them over there, and they were able to meet with all their administrators in their buildings and get support that way. Some of them even got to meet their mentors that day as well. So it was overall a very successful, I believe, day for them. I walked away feeling like we have found the best of the best, and our students and staff will benefit from the wonderful new people who are joining us.
Thank you. Any questions for Michelle?
What's the total count of new teachers?
New teachers, I think we're at 20, well, we have 23 right now, including the ones that have just been hired officially and approved. But we also have a few teachers who have kind of stepped into new roles in the district as well. So there's actually more new people in various roles, but the teachers that are coming to us new to Auburn, I believe, are 23 at this time.
Any other questions?
Nope. All right.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
That concludes my report.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Doris. The only report I have tonight for school chairperson report is you all should have received emails about the MSMA annual fall conference that is coming up. It's Thursday and Friday, October 24th and 25th. I highly recommend attending if your schedule allows it. And if you are interested, please let me and Dr. Doris know so that we can get you registered. I attended it last year. I found it to be excellent, very helpful, some really great sessions, and a great opportunity to network with other school committee members from around the state. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Moving on to our city council update, Adam.
I have no update.
So we have our committee reports. We have minutes linked from the finance subcommittee meeting on the 14th, and some of those items we'll be discussing in new business. We have the policy subcommittee agenda, which was yesterday, I believe. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. And we also have the agenda and minutes linked from the August 21st facilities meeting, which included walkthrough visits at East Auburn and Washburn. So we don't have any old business tonight. Moving on to new business, I will entertain a motion to revise the capital improvement plan budget as recommended by the finance subcommittee. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Pam, do I have a second?
Second.
Pat? Any questions, comments? We do have a budget request memo that's linked to the agenda. Amanda, do you want to give a quick summary of that?
Sure, that outlines technically 3 new projects that have come up that are capital improvement projects, just that the maintenance department of the city found needed to be replaced this summer. And then the 4th item is actually the state applications that Harriman was contracted to provide.
Does anyone have any questions, Pat?
I did have a question about the fund balance information on page 2. It said that we had budgeted $2 million and we only used $500,000.
So when the FY24 budget was created, for the revenue and expenditures to match up, they did use $2 million of the fund balance for revenue. And because we ended the year below our expenditures that were budgeted, we only needed to use $500,000 of that $2 million that was originally budgeted. So that $1.5 million that was not used remains in the fund balance.
So what does that put the fund balance up to?
So it's hard to give an exact number because we also have $2.2 1.25 budgeted for FY '25 as revenue as well. I suppose we talked about a number the other day. Do you want me to?
I think we can come back and answer that, when we have more information.
Yeah, we're finishing up FY '24 still. We have just very few things still being cleaned up, a few invoices that have popped up in the last 2 weeks. So we'll come back if we can in the next meeting and give you that number, if that's
Great,
okay.
thanks.
Thank you.
Any other questions regarding the capital improvement budget? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor of approving the capital improvement plan budget as recommended by the Finance Subcommittee? Motion carries. I'll entertain a motion to approve the applications as completed by Harriman Associates for the Maine DOE Capital School Construction Program. The memo was linked with all of the state applications. Do I have any questions or comments? And this is just, again, these are the state applications for DOE funding for improvements to our facilities that we approved Harriman. We approved funds for Harriman to complete these applications earlier this year. So these are now the actual applications that we are approving.
I guess as an added detail, we just voted, right, to take the fees associated with these applications and apply them to fiscal year 2022 bond, because we did not use all those expenses. So applying it to 2022 for 7 applications completed by Harriman to DOE.
Correct. And now this is a motion to approve the actual applications themselves. Any further questions or comments? Jay?
When was the last time we were approved for one of these DOE capital improvements?
Mr. Anir has the exact answer for you.
August 15, 2016.
New high school.
Yeah, that would have been for the new school.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 9 years. Or 8 years. Okay. Okay, so all of those in favor of approving the applications as completed by Harriman Associates for the Maine DOE Capital School Construction. Oh, sorry. Oh, I thought someone made a motion. Did we not? I just asked, well, before we started discussing it, I asked for a motion to approve. Did anyone move? Okay, so I need a motion.
So moved.
Quinn. Second, Pam. Okay. Any further discussion or questions? Okay, all of those in favor of approving the applications as completed by Harriman Associates for the Maine DOE Capital School Construction Program? Motion passes. Okay, we have a list of all of our upcoming meetings. Just a note, we are back on our regular schedule of the first and third Wednesdays for regular school committee meetings starting next week. So we will be back here again next week. And all of the other subcommittee meetings are listed. Do I have any future agenda items or requests for information? Okay, seeing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded.
Pat, seconded by Quinn. All those in favor? And we are adjourned at 6:43. Thank you, everyone.